I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with the classic conditional sentences. So I don't know. Let's make up a sentence. If she's a vegan, if she's a vegan, zero conditional. A relationship doesn't work. Our relationship doesn't work. This is what we call a zero conditional. When we have a zero conditional, we need present simple and present simple. Present, present. It means this clause is the consequence of the first clause. Yeah, no matter what. Always the consequence of that one from the speaker's point of view. So present simple, present simple. First conditional. Can you give it to me? Anybody? If she's a vegan, our relationship won't work. So for the first conditional, still we have present simple here, and then future with will. Yeah, future with will. Yeah, future with will. Second conditional. Anybody? Give it to me. If she were or if she was, both of them are fine. If she were or if she was a vegan, our relationship wouldn't work. Again, what do we need for a second conditional? We need past simple, and then on the second clause we need would. This is more hypothetical. This is more probable, and this is more hypothetical. Third conditional is a hypothetical situation in the past. Somebody give it to me. If she had been a vegan, hypothetical situation in the past, our relationship wouldn't have worked. Wouldn't have worked. This is what we know. This is what we already know. Yeah. What do we have here? Had been. This is past perfect. Sorry. This is past perfect, and wouldn't have worked. We have would plus have plus past participle. This is what we know. This is what we already know. Now I'm going to give you some more stuff about conditionals. Shall we proceed? May I? Okay, let's talk now about real conditionals. First section, real conditional sentences. Real conditional sentences. Real conditional sentences. So when we talk about real conditional sentences, we can express that one thing is always the consequence of another. This is very similar to the zero conditional that we just saw before. What do we need here? Let me give you some examples. If she gets mad, I get mad. If she gets mad, I get mad. Another one. If she got mad, I used to get mad too. Okay, the typical one is present simple, present simple. So what do we need? Clause number one. All right, whenever we have a conditional sentence, the whole thing is a sentence. Yeah, this is a sentence, and it's composed of clause one and clause two. Clause one. What do we have here? A present tense plus a present tense. This is a zero conditional, the same as I said before. present, 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 present. Another possible combination is past and past. Yeah? A past tense and another past tense. So one thing is always the consequence of the other. We need either present present or past past. It can be present simple as in here, or it could be present continuous, present simple. Yeah, it could be any present. Normally, present simple. That's the most typical one. But you can have it also in the past. Past simple, or any past tense, and any past tense. One thing always the consequence of the other. This is the most typical one, and you can also call it zero conditional. So far so good. Let's move on. We still talk about real conditionals. Yeah. Still talking about real conditionals. We could talk about a possible future situation. Let me write it down. A possible future situation. A possible future situation and its result. A possible future situation and its result. So if clause, the structure is the following one. You need the if clause, yeah, with any present tense, any present tense. This is the first block that you need, the if clause with any present tense, and then the consequence clause. The consequent clause needs to have any future tense or a modal verb or an imperative. And now I'll give you an example. For example, if you're in the mood, I'll give you, this is a first conditional, okay? This is a first conditional. If you are in the mood, if you are in the mood, this is the if clause, yeah? If you're in the mood, we'll hit the bars. Let me write it down here. Will hit the bars. This is a classic example, a typical example of the first conditional. Yeah, you can call it first conditional. What do we have? A present tense, in this case, present simple. Yeah. And here, future with will. Yeah. Any future tense. In this case, future with will. However, you can use any present tense. So it's also okay here to use, for example, a present continuous. You can say, if you're feeling in the mood, yeah? If you are feeling in the mood, we'll hit the bars. So if you're feeling in the mood, this is a present continuous tense. So for a first conditional, the so-called first conditional, a future possible situation and its result, it's grammatically correct to use the present simple, but you can also use the present continuous. As a matter of fact, you can use any present tense. If you're feeling in the mood, we'll hit the bars. And as for the second part, you can use any future tense, we'll hit the bars, but you can also use a modal verbs. You can also say, we should, yeah? We should hit the bars, hit the bars. Hit the bars. So you can use will, yes you can, but you can also use should or must or have to. You can use a modal verb instead of will. And not only that, you can use an imperative. So if you're in the mood or if you're feeling in the mood, you can also say things like, let's hit the bars. Let's hit the bars. And what is this? Let's hit the bars. This is an imperative. So, for the consequence clause, three possibilities. Future tense, typically will, a modal verb, for example, should, or an imperative, go to the bars, or let's hit the bars. So, this is what we normally use, But now you know that there are other possibilities, and that's fine. And the same for the present simple. There are other possibilities, other present tenses, and that is correct in English. May I? This is a fight against the clock. All right. To make a future a possible future situation in a more tentative way. In a more tentative way. Tentative is like careful. To express it more carefully. How would you say, and I ask you now, more tentatively? More tentatively. More carefully. How would you say in English, si resulta que estás de humor, podríamos ir a los bares. Si resulta que estás de humor, how would you say that? Let me use the black ink, yeah? If you happen to be in the mood, let's hit the bars, or we could go to the bars, or we should go to the bars. Another way to say that is with should, yeah? If you should be in should be in the mood, I would say something like should be. If you should be in the mood, also with if. If you should be in the mood, yeah, with if. If you should be in the mood, we can go to the bars. If you happen to be in the mood, we could go to the bars. I'm being more tentative. I don't really know if you are in the mood or not. I'm being very careful, so I'm asking you, well, if you happen to be in the mood, we could go to the bars. Well, if you should be in the mood, this is a fixed expression, yeah? If you should be in the mood. Here, should is not giving advice. This is a fixed expression, yes, meaning more tentatively. Perhaps this is a little bit more difficult to memorize for you, but I think this one is very similar to Spanish, if you happen to be in the mood, so in order to be more tentative. So far so good? Okay, I insist, be careful with this form of should. This is not giving advice. This is a fixed expression to be more careful, more tentative. Okay. Next, the inverted form of should. Fixed expressions to give advice. Fixed expressions to give advice. Fixed expressions to give advice. This is actually the way we say in a formal email, at the very end of a formal email, can you give me another possibility for if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask me. There's another way to say it. Should you have. This is a fixed expression. Yeah? Should you have, yeah, any further questions, don't hesitate, or do not, yeah, being more formal, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate to ask me. Again, this should you have is a fixed expression. And it means, what does it mean? It means if you have. It's the same. If you have any further questions, should you have any further questions? So this should, again, is not giving advice exactly. It's a fixed expression. It's not a modal verb in itself. It's a fixed expression meaning if you have. Should you have? If you have. So far so good? This is the end of the first part. Real conditional sentences. Now let's talk about unreal conditional sentences. Unreal conditional sentences. Okay, the first use that I want to tell you about is the hypothetical or unreal situation in the present or future. Hypothetical or unreal situation in the present or future. Hypothetical or unreal situation in the present or future. Okay, the typical, the classic second conditional, you can also call it second conditional, yeah? Second conditional. The typical second conditional would be, if I had the money, I would buy that car. This is what we already know. If I had the money, I would buy that car. Alright, this is the typical second conditional which expresses a hypothetical or unreal situation. What do we have? Past simple, yeah? And then would, yeah? However, there are more ways to express this second conditional. Instead of would, what else could we say? If I had the money, I would buy that car. Any substitute for would? That's what does your instinct tell you? If I had the money, I buy that car. Any substitute that grammatically works? Substitute in would? Well, you can use the modal could. The meaning, of course, the meaning changes a little bit. Not so much, but it changes a little bit. I would be able, yeah? I would be able to buy that car. So would, second conditional is fine. Could, second conditional is fine. And you can also say might. I might buy that car. Again, there is a shade of meaning, yeah? A slight change of meaning, but in order to make a second conditional, would, could, or might, all of them work. And not only that, here we have the past simple, but we could also use other sentences. We can also use other past. We can also use, for example, the past continuous. How can you make it work with past continuous? A very similar sentence to this. If I had the money, I would buy that car. Give it to me with past continuous. Of course, you need to change the verb. Something like this, right? If I was making more money, yeah, I would buy that car. If I was making more money, I could buy that car.
You say having the money, I would buy the car.
You can also say that. Having the money. Yeah, I would buy that car. That would be a mixed conditional, yeah, a mixed one. I'll go about that in a minute. So yeah, past simple is okay for a second conditional, but not only past simple. You could also use past continuous, and that's fine. Because in the past, we learned the conditionals as mathematical formulas, you know, present simple plus present simple plus wills, past simple plus would. That's fine when you want to study all the conditionals, but at some point you realize there's more to that, you know, there are more possible combinations. It's not only past simple, it's also past continuous, and that's fine. It's not only would, it's also could, it's also might, and it perfectly works. So far so good. May I? You know, at 8:30 I will stop, okay, and then I will continue on Tuesday next week, because I cannot come on Thursday. Sorry, I'm attending a seminar. Thank God I remember to tell you. I repeat, I'm not coming on Thursday. Sorry, I have to attend a seminar. So I'll see you on Tuesday next week. And then on Tuesday next week, I will finish the explanation. Okay, I think I can finish this section. All right, there is a more formal way to say it, to express a hypothetical or unreal situation in a more remote way, a more remote possibility. When you want to express a more remote possibility, you can use the expression where to plus infinitive. were to plus infinitive, or also were plus subject plus to plus infinitive. Now it looks very weird. Were to plus infinitive, were plus subject. This is subject, okay? Were plus subject plus to plus infinitive. I don't understand. Okay, you're going to understand right now. Okay. ¿Y si ellos se hicieran veganos, les aceptarías? How would you say that in English? Okay, if they became, yeah, this is the normal way. If they became vegans, yeah, if they became vegans, would you accept them? Would you accept them? If they became vegans, would you accept them? Again, this is past simple. This is the one that I explained to you just a second ago. However, there is another structure with were. Yeah, give it to me, Rebecca.
If they were to become?
Exactly. If they were to become. If they were to become. If they were to become vegans, would you accept them? What do we have here? We have were, we have to, and then we have the infinitive. Yeah? Were plus to plus infinitive. If they were to become vegans, would you accept them? This is another way to express a hypothetical or unreal situation. And this is a more remote possibility. If they were to become vegans, would you accept them? That's probably not going to happen, but would you accept them? The other structure, were plus subject plus to plus infinitive. Anybody? Okay, starting with were. How would you finish the sentence?
Were they to become?
Were they to? Were they to become vegans? Were they to become vegans? Were they to become vegans? Would you accept them? Again, what do we have here? Were, subject, to, infinitive. Yeah? So these structures are used to express a more remote possibility. Let's continue.
What's
Shala?
the difference between both?
I would say this one.
Formal.
I would say this one is more formal. Yeah. Were they actually? This is an inversion. Yeah. Whenever you see an inversion, watch out. Formality. Yeah. Were they to become vegans? Would you accept them? If they were to become vegans, this one has a typical structure. It's not inverted. I would say it's not as formal as this one. But both of them express a more remote possibility. Yeah. Inversion. Yeah. Whenever you see an inversion, that's a clear indicator of formal structure. Okay, next. A hypothetical situation in the past. Okay, the third conditional. Yeah? A hypothetical situation in the past. AKA third conditional. All right, I'll give you one, the classic one first, and then we'll see some more possibilities. Give it to me. Give it to me in English. I'll give you the Spanish one. Si hubieras estudiado duro, I don't like to say estudiar duro in Spanish, but in order to help the translation. Si hubieras estudiado duro, habrías aprobado. This is our third conditional. Give it to me in English. Yep. I'll finish it here.
Oh, you have passed.
You would have passed. You would have passed. Would have passed. Okay, this is the classic third conditional. A hypothetical situation in the past. What do we have here? Had started. This is past perfect. What is this? Would plus have plus past participle. Now, more possibilities. More possibilities. Instead of the past perfect, this is what we have studied in the past, you can also use the past perfect continuous. How would it be with the past perfect continuous? If you had been studying, and then it perfectly works. If you had been studying, this is past perfect continuous. Past perfect continuous. So past perfect is great. This is what we have studied in the past, but there is room for the past perfect continuous as well. And then would have passed, would plus have, past participle of the verb is good. Again, what are the typical substitutes for would that work? What are the ones that we set for the second conditional? Instead of would, we can also use could, and we can also use might. So there is room for other tenses here, as long as they are past perfect, simple, or past perfect continuous. And then would, could, or might work. You could have passed, you might have passed. Again, slightly different meaning, but grammatically works. Yeah, it grammatically works. All right. Okay, I'm gonna finish this section. Only 2 more pieces of explanation. 3-4 minutes more, and we leave it there. Yeah. So I can at least finish this section, if that's okay. Hypothetical situation in the past. Yeah, the third conditional. We can also talk about. We can be more formal. Yeah. So again, the third conditional. Yeah. In a more formal way, in a more formal style, in a more formal style, we can use the inverted form of the past perfect. Inverted form of the past perfect. Inverted form of the past perfect. So whenever there is inversion, yeah, there is more formality. And without if. So what can we say? Remember, the previous sentence was, if you had studied hard, you would have passed. Now, instead of saying, if you had studied hard, give it to me with inversion. Inversion of the past perfect, we need to start it with had. Give it to me, give it to me. Had you studied hard? Had you studied hard? And then the same. You would have. Yeah, you would have, or you might have, or you could have. Yeah? You could have passed. Again, no if. Yeah? No if. Had you studied hard? This is an inversion. Yeah? This is an inversion, and there is no if in this case. And again, it's more formal whenever there is an inversion. May I? And the very last bit, to finish with the unreal conditional sentences. The last bit I want to let you know about, it's actually longer than expected. I think we can leave it here. Yeah? I will continue next week on Tuesday. Yeah, the next point will be mixed conditionals. Okay, so on Tuesday next week, I will talk about mixed conditionals and the rest. Mixed conditional. When we talk about mixed conditionals, everything gets a little bit crazy. It's not the formula. Yeah, present simple with will, past simple with would, past perfect with would have. That's the formula that we know. But mixed conditionals, mix it up a little bit. But I will go through it on Tuesday next week. And before